All right, my friends, welcome back to Salt City Counseling. Once again, my name's Scott Carter. I'm a licensed therapist. This is my second installment in my series on depression. We need to think outside the box. If you haven't seen my first video on depression, the first video in my installment, I would recommend going back and watching that, just to kind of give you a little bit of a sum up, a quick little rundown. We need to have better discussions about depression. We need better ways to treat depression. The standard way of treating depression does not work. It's ineffective. It is extremely ineffective. We need to have better conversations about it. We need to take a different approach to it. We need to really unpack it and do a deep dive. It tends to be kind of a mundane thing. I realize that, but I think these are very, very important discussions considering how pervasive depression is. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about getting unstuck. And as a couple of side notes, before I really dive into that, it's interesting to me because I've been doing some writing on this topic as well on various corners of the internet. And while it is generally received in a very, very positive way, it's so interesting to me to see people that are so resistant. They're even angry. I've had people angry at me because I'm rejecting the standard model of treatment for depression and have the audacity to say that it's not working. And so what I've noticed is that there are certain people that have struggled with depression long enough that they're very, very reactive, right? They take it really, really personally, as though someone like me is blaming them, like it's your fault you have depression because you're not trying hard enough or things like that. And so if we were to practice, by the way, a little bit of radical acceptance, it is entirely possible that in certain cases that is true to a certain degree. To a certain degree, that could be true. I realize that everything's just more complicated than that. But it's not intended personally. It's not intended to blame. All this is intended to do is to help to give people some guidance or some insight to actually improve on this, actually make some steps in the right direction towards actually getting better. Because I really do believe that you can get better. So in this installment, again, I'm going to talk about like that process of kind of getting unstuck and talking about how depression is a state in which people are just really, really, really getting stuck and how to get unstuck. And creating some movement and staying with it, okay? And there are just certain principles that apply, right? To me, depression is almost like walking through wet cement. And the longer that you stand still in it, the harder it is to get yourself out of it. The more it's going to dry, and the more you're going to find yourself just stuck, right? And before I get into that, I've already mentioned this in other videos. I'm planning on launching my other channel, 10,000 Rona, dedicated to men's work, men's issues, masculinity, but also very much and when it comes to shadow integration. I'm certain that this is very, very important stuff for men, for everybody really. Everybody's welcome to view the content. This is not one of those like cool kids clubs, but I think it's really, really important for men to understand shadow work and do this very important shadow integration. It's something Jordan Peterson talks about a lot. Lately, he's been talking more about it. I think it's good. I think it's great. I think it's kind of the missing key. I think it's what we're missing. Anyway, so stay tuned for that. I will announce when that channel has gone live. I was planning on doing it this week. Frankly, I just have had so many curveballs thrown at me this week. I've just had so many different curveballs thrown at me this week. Like yesterday, like just when I was wanting, every time that I was wanting to like settle down to eat or settle down to meditate or like carve out some time to go ride my bike, just, another bomb would go off. So hopefully we'll get that channel launched soon. Stay tuned. I will announce that. It's coming up. Anyways, if we're going to unpack depression, again, I've already mentioned this. To me, it's really about getting stuck. Now, I'm speaking from from the perspective of both a human being and a practitioner. I don't just treat depression, but I've overcome it myself. Now, initially, when it came to my depression, I accepted this standard paradigm that I have an illness and I have some sort of pathogen. I have a flaw. There's something wrong with me. Take the pills. Just take these pills and it will improve your mood. And so I did that for a short time and I got minimal, and I mean very minimal effectiveness out of it. I mean, almost nothing. And so really what I realized is that I had to take matters into my own hands, and that's what I did. And when I took matters into my own hands, and believe me, it took time. It took a lot of diligence. It took a lot of dedication. It took a lot of tripping and falling down and dusting myself and picking myself back up and getting back on the horse, getting bucked off the horse and back on the horse over and over and over and over and over again. And now I look back at that time in my life as though it's just old news. Like, I don't even identify with that person anymore. I don't recognize that version of Scott, the depressed version. It's just not something I identify with anymore. The depression is gone, largely gone. I mean, it's easy to settle into a stale pattern, I've noticed. The trick, the challenge is to keep it fresh and to keep it going. So getting unstuck, okay? Here's the thing that I've noticed about depression. Again, not only as a human being, but as a practitioner, okay? If you're feeling depressed, depression basically gets into your head and it says, well, I don't feel very good. Let's just stay here. I'm just going to plop down right here and do whatever. Maybe stare at my phone. Maybe just watch TV. Maybe play video games. Maybe smoke pot and add any of those other things, or get drunk and add any of those other things. And you can get really stuck, right? I'm not against cannabis, but at the same time, it's like if you smoke weed and you stay on your couch for 6 hours and play video games, you're gonna feel depressed. I'm sorry. It's just, it can work as a way to repress things, and repression is bad. You don't want to do that. So really, what you want to do, here's what I had to do. At some point in my life, I realized I feel better when and usually that meant just getting up and getting out. And that could mean just going for a walk. It could just mean like driving somewhere. It could mean just calling a friend, doing something, getting involved, doing something. So what I had to do is recognize I'm going to do what is good for me, even if I don't feel like it. And that was probably the most important step. And so that, to me, that is a big key of getting stuck, because again, it's almost like depression grabs you and pulls you in. Right? And it's really hard to escape. And so for me, I really got some traction when it was about like, do, right? And get up and do it anyways. And so clinically, I've had a lot of people, like I'm thinking of one individual, and I got this person engaging in more physical movement and exercise every day, even for 20 minutes. And even this person would come to session and they would just be like, I am feeling like crap today. And after the session, I'm just going to go home and smoke pot and waste the rest of the day away. And I was like, okay, but is that going to help you feel better? Is that going to improve your mood? And they were like, I don't know, probably not, but I don't feel like doing anything. And I told them, I said, I want you to go on a short hike. We got mountains. We got all kinds of canyons and foothills and hiking trails all around here. It's one of the things I love about living in this area. And I said, I want you to do that first, and do it whether you feel like it or not, and do it because I want you to. And they came back and told me that it actually helped to go out and like be in nature and get some physical movement. So like 3 things, right? Like every day, physical movement, outside, nature, sunshine, right? Do those things every day, every single day, do those things. But then I also got this person learning something new. They always wanted to learn how to play the piano. So they bought a keyboard, like one of those cheap ones, and was learning how to play the piano. Learning a new hobby. That I got this person interested engaging in a hobby that was interesting to them. And within a few weeks, within 2 or 3 weeks, already seeing some improvement and getting some traction, okay? And the fact of the matter is, I realize that it's difficult to make a different decision when you're really depressed. I'm not downplaying that whatsoever. I'm not minimizing that. But what I am saying is, if you can wrap your mind around how crucial it is to get up and do it anyways, that's where it's going to make a difference for you. So, like, commit to yourself every day. I am going to, for example, I'll just give you some examples. I'm going to get some physical movement. I'm going to get some sunshine. I'm going to spend some time outside. I'm going to interact with somebody, whether it's a family member, a friend, or a peer. I do not count, by the way, I don't count online stuff. I don't Snapchatting someone. I don't count that. Young people think it's the same. It's not. It's just not. They insist that it is, and it's like, okay, but you're really depressed. and If that was a good thing, you would feel less depressed, okay? And so what you want to do is baby steps. Like just like do those things, whether you feel like it or not. And to me that really has been the trick. To do those things that I know were good for me and I knew would improve my mood whether I felt like doing them or not. Okay? And so what's interesting is some people are very, very committed to this idea that no, there's something wrong with me. I have an illness, and I've had people angry with me, angry because I'm like trying to empower them, trying to say no, you have the power to do something about this. I'm not saying it's easy. Not for 1 second am I suggesting that it's easy, but what I am saying it's worth it. What I am saying is that it is 100% worth it. And it's interesting. I even had one person like, this is dangerous. It's so interesting to me how married, how attached, how committed people get to being to this paradigm that they're flawed or broken. And the minute I say no, you're capable of even just improving this and just making these baby steps. And if you see a little bit of improvement, that's a good sign that you can make more improvements and bigger improvements, so you can build on that. And then one day your habits will change and the whole thing will change, and one day you'll be better. You just have to be diligent, and you're capable. I've had people before clinically like treat them like they're capable, and they were angry with me. Angry. I had one individual once. I have a disability, and you're not treating me like I have a disability. And I was like, you're right, because I think that you're 100% capable. And I refuse to do otherwise. If you want a therapist that just treats you like you're incapable and like you're just weak and powerless, then by all means go somewhere else. I literally was like, there's the door. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to look at a capable person and lie through my teeth to them that they're incapable. So if you want a therapist that's going to do that, you won't hurt my feelings. And they stayed. Actually improved. So begin the process of getting unstuck. Like pick 3 things and do those things every day for a week, 2 weeks. And then stop and examine how you feel. Practice some insight. Ask yourself, how do I feel compared to a week ago or 2 weeks ago or however long it's been? How do I feel? What helped the most? How did, what things improved my mood the most? And then build off of it and do those things even if you don't feel like it. And if you miss a day, because, life happens, then pick up where you left off the next day. Just pick up where you left. Don't worry about it. Don't take any meaning from it. Just be like, well, it happens, and get up and do it again the next day. Okay, so that's part 2 of this installment. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new here, and don't forget to smash that like button. We'll see you in the next one.